everybody, it's Becky. I'm back today with just a video that kind of popped into my head. A couple weeks ago I was thinking about homeschooling and I thought I just have so many thoughts and things that I feel like I want to share, things that I've experienced or feelings that I've had or things that I've heard. And I wanted to kind of share it with you guys, those of you who homeschool and enjoy watching those videos. I don't know if there's going to be one video in this series or if there's going to be 100. I don't really know yet how it's going to go. And I just felt like there's a couple things I wanted to talk about. I'm thinking of calling it just Homeschool Heart to Heart. Me just sitting here talking to you about my frustrations, my feelings, whatever's happening in our homeschool lives that I wanted to share and kind of go through with you guys. And if you kind of communicate with you guys and see if it either encourages you, or if I'm having trouble and I need advice, maybe you could encourage me and help me with some different problems. But like I said, I don't know if there's going to be one video or a million videos in this series. I don't even want to call it a series yet because I don't know if it's going to be. But I just felt like, though, it is me kind of heart to heart talking to you about homeschooling, so that's what it's going to be called. And I'll make them whenever I feel like I have something I need to share or I need your guys' help with, or just something to encourage you about. So today I wanted to talk about really two different things: the pressure that we put on ourselves and the pressure that we often feel or that's being put on us by other people when they find out you homeschool and you instantly feel like you're not smart enough to homeschool, and you don't want to tell people you homeschool because you feel like if they know you personally, they might think, oh, how are you going to homeschool your kids? You're not smart enough to do that. You don't have a teaching degree, you don't have a master's degree, whatever. And then there's just flat out the people that will tell you if they don't think you're qualified, or they seem to look down on you because you've chosen to homeschool. And I feel like some of that pressure I put on myself. I feel like when homeschooling comes into the situation, and I feel like when people know that we homeschool, I instantly feel like I need to be more on my toes about using proper grammar and things like that, because I don't want people to think that I know everything because I homeschool, and they might think less of me if they think, well, you said me and her instead of she and I, and so you're not smart enough to homeschool and all that different stuff. Does that make any sense? I just feel like when I tell people we homeschool, I feel more pressure on me, and I feel like there's a magnifying glass on me that I have to be smarter and appear smarter and mind all my P's and Q's of grammar and speech and all that, so that I don't look like I'm not qualified to homeschool my kids, if that makes sense. And I don't know if that's something that I'm just putting the pressure on myself about that, or if that's really how people feel. But I just wanted to say, whether that's me putting that pressure on myself or whether it is things that people are thinking about me, I don't know. Whether it is or not, whichever way it is, when I have doubts that I'm smart enough to teach my kids, when I have doubts that I'm smart enough to homeschool, and I don't think I'm not smart. I mean, I do have a college degree. I just have an associate's degree. I didn't go on any longer than that. But I always did well in school, except for math and gym. We'll say PE and math. Okay, no, I did not do good in PE. I didn't want to sweat in school because then I had makeup and it would sweat off my face. And math, I've been bad at since I was a kid. Other than math and PE, I did well in every other subject. I did really well and excelled in English and spelling and writing. I really love to write. I actually that was one of my electives in high school, was an advanced keyboarding research class, which was all like reports the whole year long. And I love that. I had my English teacher when I was a senior ask me if I wanted to get in the AP English classes. I mean, so I know when I was in college too, I know one of the nicest things my professor said was, we had turned in our papers, and he said, when he was talking about me, he said, I found our writer in the class. And so that always makes me feel good. I've written some things for a local magazine. I wrote an article for the Crazy Coupon Lady. So I love to write, and I think I've just always had a lot of common sense. So I'm proud of myself in that way. Is I know my shortcomings, which is also a big deal. If you don't know your own shortcomings, then you don't know how to work around them. So I know that I am qualified to teach my kids. Whether I have a degree to prove that or not, I don't really know that it matters. I think what matters more is the reason you're homeschooling your kids, if your heart's in the right place and your desire for them to know as much as they possibly can. And I don't want people to think that even if you don't have maybe necessarily the education that you feel you should have, you love your kids. And if you're homeschooling for the right reasons, then you're going to make sure they learn what they need to learn. You're going to do the research to find out what maybe the best curriculums are to use. You're going to be there to know, okay, this curriculum's not working. I'm going to change them to something else. I'm going to hire a private tutor. I'm going to make sure that they finish all their projects, and I'm going to make sure that they are taking an interest in what they're learning. You're going to do all those things because you love your kids. And so that to me makes up for maybe a piece of paper that says I have a bachelor's degree or a master's degree or whatever. That to me is more valuable than maybe a higher education. Not to say that education is not important, and obviously the more you have, that's great. But I just want to, I'm saying this from a point of view of trying to encourage you and myself. Rid yourself of some of that pressure. If you're homeschooling your kids because of religious reasons, or you feel like that the school system isn't a safe place anymore, or all those things, the love that you have for your kids well makes up for any education that you might be lacking. And so I need to remember that as a parent and a homeschooler, and maybe I thought you would like to hear that as a parent and a homeschooler. You love your kids, you have their best interests at heart, and you're going to make sure that they get the education that they need and they deserve. And that is important. That's what matters. Maybe I use the wrong form of a word here and there. I mean, I'm sure I do. I'm not perfect. I don't speak perfectly, and I don't write perfectly, and I use improper grammar sometimes, just like I guess we all do. But I love my kids, and I am homeschooling them because I love them, not because it's easier, because it's not. It's harder. It would be much easier for me to send them to school and have 6 hours a day all to myself. I could clean uninterrupted. I could exercise all day long if I wanted to. I could go shopping. I could take a nap. I could go get my nails done. I could get a massage. I could do any of those things in those 6 or 7 hours that they'd be at school, and my life would be a lot easier. I don't choose to homeschool because it's easy. I don't choose to homeschool because I feel like I'm going to get so much done while they're doing their schoolwork. No, it doesn't work that way. And every time you feel like you get into a pattern, things change, and you end up having to redo your schedule because their schedules change and their needs change. They might not need you as much. They might need you more. Like right now, I said my 5-year-old needs me a lot because we're doing reading and phonics and handwriting and math, everything from the beginning. And I'm going to be the only one to teach her that. So, but then with my older daughter, like, she does a lot of her things independently, either in a workbook or on a computer program or her piano lesson or whatever it is. She doesn't need me to do that for her. And I know that day is coming for my 5-year-old. When she gets older, she's not going to need me as much, and my life will change again. I might have more free time to spend on daily chores around the house or whatever. But I'm homeschooling my kids because I feel like it's the right choice for us. And I'm homeschooling them knowing that I am not good at every subject. I am not good at math. I'm not terribly great at science if it pertains to math. But I have spent hours and hours and hours researching curriculum, trying to find the right thing for them. And even then, sometimes it's not the right fit for either them or me or both. And I've had to make adjustments in whatever I needed to do. But that's what I'm willing to do, because my kids and their education matters to me, and that overcompensates, I feel, for whatever lack in education might be there on my part. And so I just wanted to share that with you guys. Throw that out there, kind of open up the line of conversation to see how you guys feel about it. Do you feel like that when people find out that you homeschool, do you kind of feel maybe inferior, and that people might think you're not smart enough to homeschool? Or have people said to you that they don't think people that are homeschooled are as smart, or the kids that are homeschooled aren't as socialized? Have you heard any of those things from other people that you've met? Just kind of curious. But I hope it encourages you to know that if you're feeling that way, if you're feeling inferior, try not to, because you love your kids, you're going to do what's best for them, and you're going to work probably harder than the school system would to make sure your kid gets the education that you really need. The school system does a lot of great things for kids, and I don't disagree with the school system, but I feel like as a parent, you're going to love your kids more than their teacher's going to, or more than the school board's going to. So that ultimately, to me, means you have more invested in your child, you love your child more than the school does, and so you're going to do what's best for them. So let me know what you guys think about this. Like this video if you like it and you would like to see more in this kind of a series, if it is a series. Would you like to see more videos about this? Any kind of a homeschooling topic like this, where I just kind of sit down and talk to you with no notes, clearly, because I'm rambling. and just share with you kind of what's on my heart and what I'm feeling. So let me know if you like this. Like it if you do. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.